the next generation user interface in ObjectStudio, which uses a native Windows widgets interface. And so we've been very aggressively not just building it, but also using it, making sure it works properly, is good for our needs, our customers' needs, and Andreas is going to take you into detail. I thought it was really interesting. The launcher has a lot of frequently used and productivity items right at your fingertips. Hope you enjoy it.
Art, thank you very much. Use the microphone. I can certainly do that. Thank you. Really? You think so? I have to? Okay. All right. So, Arden, thank you very much for the introduction. Well, thank you very much to each and every one of you that you're still here, even while we have the social event tonight. I'm not leaving yet. Yeah, I'm talking about the ObjectStudio launcher. Talking about what was the motivation behind it. Talking about the interface itself. A little bit about the different pages that we have in this new tabs interface. And at the very end, some of the steps that we want to take in the future to make it even more convenient. And then I'm certainly ready to listen for more input, what it is that you expect from a launcher, from a tool, from a productivity tool, to help you in your day-to-day tasks. The motivation itself is that I was not really happy with the old launcher, the WPN controller, that all of the ObjectStudios users are familiar with, and I expected it to be more than a simple collection of just development tools that when they are loaded you can access them. Plus, the VisualWorks launcher itself had quite some tools, some access points that the old ObjectStudio launcher didn't have. We wanted to add that without actually have to copy all the code. And then, of course, it's a self-serving project, at least for me, because the NGUI is my little project. And of course, I wanted to show it off to everybody that there are some cool things you can actually do with it. The first page, the first tab that you get when you open the new launcher by default is the Packages tab. So you have the tabbed interface here, as you can see, and I'm talking about the first tab right here about the packages. It displays the content of packages and bundles, sub-bundles, everything. Class extensions are displayed in the list box next to it, and it gives you easy access to some of the packages that you frequently work on without having to go through the Refactor Browser every single time and selecting the package that you need. You just open the packages can be added here in several ways, so that you have easy access to all the packages that you need for your daily development, just to make it easy for you to access your work and access the code that you need on a daily basis more often than probably anything else. If you double click on a package or a bundle here in the preview, you actually get the Refactoring Browser just opening just on this package and bundle, meaning you only see your code in this case. If you want to open up a regular browser, of course we have the toolbar up there, so you can add the open the Refactoring Browser every single time that you need it. If you click on one of the classes or class extensions listed in the list box over there, or in the list view, it opens up the Refactoring Browser, selecting this package, selecting this class extension, and you can just start from there. Yeah, there's, as I said, several ways to add packages to this browser. So the first one is in the context menu in here, add packages, add bundles, which by itself works fine and is nice to use. Another thing is in the refactoring browser, in the here, add to favorites, remove from favorites. So you do a right click in the refactoring browser and say, I want to, this is the package I really want to keep an eye on, and I want to add this reference to my launcher. The last thing here is actually in the settings dialog. And this one is actually even more powerful than all of the other tools, because here I have to select specific packages. In here, I can specify a pattern, meaning specifying a pattern if I follow certain naming conventions, or if my company follows certain naming convention, I can actually put in a pattern, and if the loaded packages match the naming conventions that you set up here, then it will automatically get added to the packages tab. So that when you have, for example, we have OST, well, we could do an OST space and then everything that gets loaded with this extension can be put in the packages tab.
So what about, I have a bundle with a lot of packages and
Yep.
all with the same pattern. So will it just add the bundle or will it add everything?
Well, it will add the bundle, and then if you expand, here you see in Base ObjectStudio, that's a bundle, and then there are bundles underneath that one. So you see the top bundle, and then you see, when you expand that bundle, you see all the included bundles and packages.
So there's a filter on the included bundles? No.
There's not a filter. There's not a filter, but if it's added already, if it exists already, I'm not going to add it again 2 or 3 times. So if the top bundle is added, which automatically adds all the sub bundles, I'm not adding it again, otherwise this interface will just blow up.
So, drag and drop?
Pardon?
Can I drag things in there?
What do you want to do with drag and
Go to
drop?
the browser and drag a bundle there.
No, because the browser doesn't allow me to do that, the refactoring browser. What I can do, pardon? Ask the people from the refactoring browser.
They do? Oh, you can drag and drop all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, drag and drop all kinds of. You can drag and drop clauses and methods and into different protocols and methods up and down. But dragging the package to where? So that's something I can certainly take a look into that one. I haven't found it in my research, but if you say there is something like that, then I'm more than happy to take a look. Again, what you can do is actually, if you have parcels outside in your code, that's where drag and drop actually works. And that's what I wanted for the longest time. You just take you have an open browser somewhere, and you just Windows Explorer in this case, and you take the PCL or PST file and drop it anywhere here on the window. It gets loaded and added automatically. This package gets added, all the references that it needs, all the prerequisites that it needs get loaded automatically, but not automatically added to this package browser. So, for me, it's a very useful tool for my development. Again, we're looking for input. This is new stuff. This is brand new, coming out with 8.8 ObjectStudio, which is just released. We're looking for input. If you have any ideas, or if you look at it and have, we always welcome feedback. Okay. Default action, double click, as I said, opens the refactoring browser. The new class opens the refactoring browser with the new class dialog open, and the items are set already. The list view can change to smaller, can view details, view whatever view you prefer in this case. Next thing is, if you know the ObjectStudio old controller, definitely the engine controller actually, you know that it is a place to find all the controllers, all the views that you have in your system. So it gives you not just, here I'll give you not just the views in here, but also the packages where they are defined. So it's another refinement of the work that you're doing, or easy access of the work you're doing. A lot of people have to edit or browse or inspect The view especially, in the beginning you make frequent changes to the window itself, so we found this is a nice easy access to the controller itself to get more, some of the tasks just streamlined and a common place where to go to. The package name right now is used for grouping. We used to do folders that you can name whatever you want. That might be in the future. Right now we use the package names so that we have at least for controls and packages a very similar interface. Double click will open the controller. Will open the controller itself, and as I said, it's a basic replacement of the ObjectStudio WPM view controller of that standard view, so that the folks don't think they get left out. And as I said, I'm using this actually quite frequently. Context menu for the controllers. You see, open, edit, inspect, yada yada. Everything's there. Underneath, again, icon view, small icon, title, whatever, are just different views inside the list view to give you better experience, whatever you choose to do and however you want to view that particular collection of controllers. This one is probably more for me than the rest of the team, but still I put it in and then got some very positive feedback from the rest of my team, saying that at least with my 2 screens and writing Smalltalk code, they fill up quickly with a lot of windows. So I wanted the open windows list right here, and it's not just a list of all the ObjectStudio windows, all the old GUI forms, but all of the windows that are currently open in this image. So scheduled windows, UI views, forms, whatever, they are listed here. The prefix is the class name, so basically just the initials of the camel case, so that you get a better idea of what it actually is, plus the text of the title. Right now, F5 will update the list. So always hitting F5, like in your browser, will update the current view. This one at the moment in the current release is a single selection list box. The first reply that I got from my customer was, "This is great, this is cool, but please make it multi-selection list box because I want to get rid of a lot of windows right away and I don't want to select all of them individually." So I said, okay, I agree, absolutely, oversight from my side, apologize, so it's now a multi-selection list box. No, that's the verb, sorry. And this one will get changed in the very near future with the next, probably with a point release. It depends on Art and what they tell us what we can put in, but it definitely a multi-selection list box for closing those windows. Next thing is those windows are hiding sometimes on the primary screen, sometimes on the secondary screen. They are hidden behind a lot of other screens and windows. So if you double click on one entry here, it will actually bring the window to the front of the current screen where it is on. It will just tell it, okay, come to the front. And I still found that this is difficult. Like sometimes I do a double click and I'm still searching around and not finding my stupid window. Sometimes I still seem to be blind in this case. So put in bring it down into the front and center of the main display. So I expect it right here, right in front of my nose, to bring front and center, and the window moves, and yeah, finally, I found it. So this is, at least for me, and for quite a few in the team, and as I heard from some of the customers, a great thing to have. Probes is another thing I didn't want to add new windows and new things, but probes is something that I wanted to have in my view visible, probably not all the time, but most of the time to make it easy accessible. So I have a list of all existing probes in the system. A double click on the probe will open up the Refactor Browser on that very method. So then you can either make a change, do something with it, or if you want, the context menu actually tells you you can browse it or you can remove it. So, and again, customer came back to me and said, you forgot the remove all method, which, yes, it's true. So far, it's just again, single select this box, and you just do a right click, say remove, and for removing all, you would need to remove all one by one, which is tedious, but I'm working on it, promise. So the remove all is definitely coming. It's definitely coming. The transcript down here, whoever knows ObjectStudio probably remembers that the ObjectStudio transcript was a read-only separate window that you could place everywhere on the screen, but first of all it was read-only. You couldn't use it as a workspace, and it was really a separate window. So now I'm putting the transcript, a version of the transcript, on the bottom of the new launcher, and it's actually an edit field, so you can put in some more snippets of Smalltalk code and execute it right there. It does not, however, have access to workspace variables. It's the same context that gets executed, but it does not support workspace variables. This is a lightweight support, so to say for executing Smalltalk, but it's not a replacement for the workspace itself. And here finally, code cannot be saved or read from a file. That's what the workspace is for. I don't want to have workspace and transcript mixed up. So transcript really, mostly for output, you can still write something and you can copy and paste and all that stuff works, but we don't want to compete with a full-blown workspace. That was the presentation before. Yeah, we are using Searchlight in our image. Anybody of you using VisualWorks Searchlight? I know Agnes, I know Niels, nobody else. All right, fair enough. Searchlight can search not only for classes or class names, but also for messages and message names for shared variables and pretty much anything that exists in the system. And you don't even need wildcards in your search string. I did put some wildcards here, and you get the same result with asterisk monitor versus monitor and UI view. The whole thing is a drop-down combo box. Whenever you execute a search, whatever is entered here is basically saved in the search string history, so you can repeat the searches just with the click of a button. The status bar is extended now and basically shows the same menu that you get when you do a click in the VisualWorks menu bar, status bar, I'm sorry. And yeah, with all the repositories that you have, with all published items, recently published items and that stuff. With the old WP-Engine controller, you could just do a right click in the background and say published items. Since we changed the whole thing, we thought we adapt this status bar approach where it actually shows the name of the connected store repository and react on mouse clicks to open up the context menu in this case with all the repositories and access to the recently published items. So it's a small change here, but it's basically consistent with the VisualWorks launcher and their architecture. Something that was really a request from from Dirk van Leysen. He said, with all the windows that I'm having, I have no idea which one is the launcher. If I just move my cursor over the mouse, my mouse cursor over the taskbar, and I get the list of all the windows, I really want the launcher to stand out. So we did an icon overlay. I did an icon overlay, and the new launcher looks like this. So all the windows have the same old interface, nothing new there. But for the launcher, I did an icon overlay, so you can identify the main window, so to speak, of your development environment easily. You just move the mouse down there, it pops up right away, and you see, okay, this one with the icon overlay, that must be it. It can be disabled in the taskbar, or disabled in the settings. Apparently, a customer reported a problem with a high-def screen and said it's not really working there. I don't know why. I have to figure that one out. That just came in recently. But on the other screens it works fine, and I think makes a nice addition to have a better visual grip on where is my launcher. Nice little game. This icon overlay is of course that you can use in the NGUI. That's not something that I did purely entirely just for the sake of the ObjectStudio launcher. So if you have different application windows that you want to somehow stand out for some reason to somebody else, this is useful to you. You can of course use any icon that you like, any file that the bitmap, PNG, JPEG, GIF, whatever that you like to do an overlay inside the taskbar and see if that works for you. Next steps. All right. I was playing around with the color settings. Nicole? There she is. Yeah, you saw the color settings dialog that I got and worked on, that I actually have on my machine here. And the first question was, yeah, use some different colors. This one is unreadable. It's just awful. So yeah, do something else so I can read it. So I'm playing around with color settings, with a whole bunch of settings, fonts and stuff like that. As I said, the multi-select for the list, multi-select list for the open windows is definitely something that well, I think it's a done deal. Additional shortcuts. Hit the delete key to remove all of the windows, close the windows. We thought is probably a nice change, so you don't have to do a right click and say remove those, but you just hit the delete button and all of the windows are gone. One more hidden gem, because Arden loves them so much. A lot of keyboards, especially the desktop keyboards nowadays, come with some multimedia features of play, mute, stuff like that. And a lot of those keyboards actually have, for the browser, a go forward and go backward button. Anybody having using one of those keyboards at home? I see a few nods, okay. So tabbing through or going through those tabs, I thought was tedious, because you have to move from your keyboard to your mouse and then select a tab and then you want to do something else. Now you can, with a go forward and go backward buttons for the browser, the launcher actually reacts to that and allows you to step from one tab to the other. Besides through some other shortcuts that are in there, but I thought that's kind of neat. Searchlight is a great tool. It's very fast. The only problem is it cannot search within comments. And when we had the first test rolled out to the customers, one came back and said, I need to search inside my comments. All right. Excuse me. It takes a little longer, but sure we can do that. So it's something that we can accommodate that. So will be another dialog coming up that says, okay, you want to search in your message or method source, including the comments, and not just inside your classes and methods for all the symbols that are used there. We want to publish the packages directly from the launcher. So you don't have to go to the refactoring browser anymore and select whatever you want, but inside the launcher we want to be able to say publish this package, bundle, whatever. Some performance improvements are needed. Right now the rich edit control or the edit control that I'm using for the transcript is a little overwhelmed when you really push out stuff to the transcript like a lot. So if you do a loop from 1 to 10,000 and just hit it, the transcript can get a little overwhelmed, and you're not seeing a constant scroll, but actually some jumps in between. All of the output will be there, so that's not a problem, but there are some jumps in the redraw. And again, I'm looking for some customer input. I don't think that I'm the only one having a couple of issues with the current launcher and would like to improve it. Here's your chance. If you have ideas and tasks that you have to do all the time and would like to see integrated in the launcher, some tools that you'd like to see integrated in the launcher, let us know. Especially Artemis and Suzanne are keen to hear those things, and I'm sure they funnel it back to the development team and let's see what we can do with that. As I said, the multi-selection list is definitely something that was an oversight from me. I can definitely see that value, and so that's basically given. And that was already it. It's 5 to 4, and I'm ready for questions. Please.
You have Visualworks and ObjectStudio, and you have a base underneath that that's shared.
Yes, that's correct.
But how far does that go? Do you use like an application module, the model view controller, the dependencies, or where is the split? Because I know Visualworks has browsers and stuff like that, and
We use the browsers from Visualworks. Right? We use the browsers from Visualworks. The big split really is in the GUI. The GUI models are very different between Visualworks and ObjectStudio. On the one side you have the platform independent UI from Visualworks, and on the other side you have, right now, especially with the NG UI, you have the platform Windows dependent common controls that are provided by Microsoft, just because we didn't want to introduce any different behavior from compared to what you get when you have a Microsoft native application, like written in C# or whatnot. So that is the main difference. The ObjectStudio dialect is very close to Visualworks. Some of the things, especially on the level of an output or so, are still a little different. So meaning that in the ObjectStudio, in the old ObjectStudio, an output would deliver the dictionary or the collection as a return value, and in Visualworks, with the output you get the put value as a return value. So a lot of people in the ObjectStudio community didn't even think about a thing like a yourself at the end of a cascade or so. That's something that's needed in Visualworks. So, but it's not a problem to code like the Visualworks style. So there's definitely no drawback there. But the biggest difference here is that ObjectStudio, first of all, is Windows only, and it always will be Windows only, and that's why we have this big integration and all this stuff. So the GUI is very different between those two products.
okay, so also, but the browser is also Windows UI.
No, the launcher only has changed. The refactoring browsers, I haven't touched those. Okay, so we use the refactoring browser. We use all the browsers from Visualworks that come with the development environment, and we use most of the tools that we get from the VisualWorks environment. Just this ObjectStudio launcher and the ObjectStudio workspace are different and based on the NGUI.
Okay.
So, sorry. Georg, I believe you had
And
another.
you were asking for wishes. On-
Wishes.
Yeah. On Monday, you
Did I really do that?
you presented a very nice new gadgets like the round clock and
Yep.
other things you could do with the NG GUI, the new GUI.
Yeah.
I would love to see more in the launcher of those new fancy things you can do now that extend even more out. So you demonstrate.
So this is
one of them.
This is one of them. Okay.
Yeah,
So
but
Georg
more.
wants more of the fancy new stuff of the NGUI in the new launcher. Well, if you have a list of things that you would like to see, then I'm sure we can talk about it. And I drink single malt scotch, so all right, you know what to do.
Or you could send something to the engineering manager and product manager.
Yeah, that's the boring way. That's the boring official way. Official way. I'm sorry. No, that's the official way.
What do you like to prefer as drink? Oh,
She drinks Chardonnay and no, not Chardonnay. Zinfandel is one of the things. Yeah. Shiraz and Zinfandel. Christian?
So probably not the right question for you, but
No.
will we get that in the works? Do you know anything about this? Or do you
Getting this one in VisualWorks?
Yes.
Oh, no
There's
chance.
nothing special ObjectStudio-ish about it. It's a
Except that the whole GUI is the NGUI,
Yeah,
and
just
I cannot port all the stuff in to VisualWorks. That would be Took me a long while to get it into ObjectStudio, but to get it into VisualWorks, into that application model, I'm not sure if I can do that. I'm just not smart enough. Sorry. Anything else, or everybody ready and hyped up for tonight, for the big event? Yay. Okay, very good.